I want you to look down at your hands for a moment. Really look at them. Do you notice how the skin seems thinner than it used to be? How a small bump against the kitchen counter now leaves a bruise that lingers for 2 weeks instead of 2 days? Maybe you've noticed your knees feel looser when you climb stairs, or your nails split more easily than they ever did in your 40s. If any of that sounds familiar, I need you to hear something important today. This is not just getting older. This is your body losing something specific, something called collagen, and it's happening faster than most doctors ever explain to you. This isn't just getting older. What you're noticing has a name, and it's measurable. Research shows that collagen production in the body drops by roughly 1% every single year after the age of 20, and that decline speeds up even more after menopause and through your 60s. So if you feel like your body changed faster than it should have, you're not imagining it. There's a real physical reason behind it. Collagen is the protein that quite literally holds you together. It's in your skin, your joints, your tendons, even the walls of your blood vessels. And here is the part I really want you to hold on to. You don't need injections, expensive creams, or a prescription to start rebuilding what's been lost. There are ordinary plant-based foods sitting in grocery stores right now that give your body exactly what it needs to protect and even rebuild collagen naturally. Today I'm walking you through the 7 most powerful ones, building from the least impactful up to the most powerful. And I'll tell you now, the 7th one on this list is something almost none of my patients have ever heard of, even though it may matter more than any of the others. Stay with me until the end, because I'll also share a few bonus tips most people are never told. Small habits that help your body actually absorb and use everything we cover today. Before we go any further, I'd love to know something about you. Think for a second about where you notice these changes the most. Is it your skin, maybe those bruises that show up out of nowhere? Or is it your joints, that stiffness in your knees or hands when you first get moving in the morning? Perhaps it's your nails, or even how tired your eyes look lately. Type it in the comments below. Just one word is enough. I read every one of them, and honestly, it helps me understand exactly what matters most to you as we go through today's list together. Let's start with something you probably already have sitting on your kitchen counter right now. Tomatoes. Most people think of tomatoes as just a salad topping or something you slice onto a sandwich, and that's exactly why this one gets overlooked. But here's what's really happening inside that tomato. It's carrying a compound called lycopene, and lycopene works almost like a shield for the collagen you already have. Your skin and joint tissue are constantly exposed to everyday stress, sun exposure, oxidative damage from normal cell activity, and over time, that stress breaks collagen down faster than your body can replace it. Lycopene helps slow that breakdown. There's actual research behind this. Studies looking at skin health have found that regular lycopene intake is associated with better skin structure and reduced damage from UV exposure, which is one of the biggest silent destroyers of collagen as we age. Now here's why this matters specifically for you. If you're someone who spends time outdoors, gardening, walking, sitting on the porch in the afternoon sun, your skin is taking on more oxidative stress than you might realize. Tomatoes help your body defend the collagen you still have, rather than letting it get chipped away year after year. The right way to get the benefit is simple, and this surprises people. Cooked tomatoes are actually more effective than raw ones. Cooking breaks down the plant's cell walls and makes lycopene easier for your body to absorb. So, a warm tomato sauce, a soup, or even roasted tomatoes with a little olive oil gives you more benefit than a plain tomato slice. And here's a myth worth clearing up. Some people avoid tomatoes because they've heard they cause joint inflammation. For the vast majority of people, that's simply not supported by evidence. Unless you have a specific diagnosed sensitivity, tomatoes are safe and genuinely helpful. Now let's talk about something that's probably in your kitchen right now and something you might use for flavor without ever thinking about what it's doing for your body. Garlic. Most people underestimate garlic because it seems too ordinary, too common to matter. It's not a trendy supplement, it doesn't come in a fancy bottle, so it gets dismissed. But that's a mistake, because garlic contains sulfur compounds, and sulfur happens to be one of the building blocks your body uses when it's repairing and maintaining collagen structures. Here's a simple way to picture it. Think of collagen like a rope made of tightly woven fibers. Over time, especially after 60, that rope can start to fray. Sulfur compounds act almost like reinforcement material, helping your body patch and strengthen those fibers rather than letting the fraying continue unchecked. It's not flashy, but it's foundational work happening quietly beneath the surface. Clinically, this shows up in ways patients notice without necessarily connecting the dots. Skin that feels a little more resilient, joints that don't creak quite as loudly when getting up from a chair. Small things, but they add up over weeks and months of consistent intake. Now here's something worth knowing if you actually want the benefit. Crushing or chopping garlic and letting it sit for about 10 minutes before cooking activates the enzyme responsible for producing these beneficial sulfur compounds. If you toss a clove straight into a hot pan without doing that, you lose a good portion of the benefit. It's a small habit, but it makes a real difference. I also want to address something patients ask me often. Garlic doesn't need to be eaten raw to help you, and you don't need to overdo it either. 1 to 2 cloves a day, cooked into your regular meals, is enough to support this process steadily over time. Now, before I tell you about the next one, I want you to think about something you probably ate this week without giving it a second thought. It's a food almost every senior already has in their kitchen, something doctors have recommended for decades. But here's what nobody tells you. Most people are eating it in a way that quietly cancels out nearly all of its benefit. Stick with me, because how you prepare this one matters just as much as eating it in the first place. A patient once told me she eats a salad almost every day and still wonders why her skin looks tired and her joints feel achy by evening. The truth is, eating leafy greens isn't the problem. It's often how they're being eaten that quietly cancels out the benefit. Spinach and kale carry something your collagen production genuinely depends on. Vitamin C alongside chlorophyll and a range of antioxidants that support the tissue underneath your skin. Vitamin C isn't optional here. It's actually required for your body to stitch collagen fibers together correctly. Without enough of it, your body can have all the protein building blocks available and still fail to assemble them properly. Picture your skin and joint tissue like a brick wall. The bricks might be there, but vitamin C is the mortar holding everything in place. Kale and spinach help supply that mortar along with chlorophyll, which research suggests may help support skin repair processes at a cellular level. For someone in their 60s or 70s, this often shows up in visible ways. Skin that holds a bit more firmness, faster healing after small cuts or bruises, and joints that feel a touch more resilient during everyday movement, like kneeling in the garden or reaching for something on a high shelf. Here's the part most people get wrong though. Boiling these greens for too long destroys much of the vitamin C before it ever reaches your plate. A light steam, a quick sauté, or even tossing raw spinach into a smoothie preserves far more of the nutrient than a pot of overcooked greens ever will. And let's clear up a common myth. Some people believe you need enormous amounts of leafy greens daily to see any benefit. That's not accurate. A modest, consistent serving, even a cup a few times a week, done the right way, contributes meaningfully over time. If you're finding this helpful so far, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. I put out videos like this every week, walking through real, practical ways to feel stronger, move easier, and take care of yourself as you get older. My goal is simple. I want you showing up here, informed and a little more hopeful than you were before you clicked play. Alright, let's keep going, because what's coming next might be the most important nutrient on this entire list. I remember a patient bringing in a container of blueberries she'd bought just because they were on sale, having no idea she was holding one of the more powerful tools for protecting her skin and joints. That's often how it goes with berries. People eat them because they taste good, not because they understand what's actually happening underneath. Blueberries, strawberries, blackberries, they're all rich in compounds called anthocyanins, which give them that deep red, purple, or blue color. And anthocyanins do something specific that's worth understanding. Your body naturally produces small amounts of an enzyme that breaks down collagen as part of normal turnover. That's fine in moderation, but as we age, this breakdown process can start to outpace your body's ability to rebuild. Anthocyanins help slow that enzyme activity down, essentially giving your existing collagen more time to do its job before it gets broken apart. Think of it like a leaky faucet. Vitamin C and the other nutrients we've talked about help refill the tub. Anthocyanins help slow the leak itself. Both matter, and berries are one of the few foods that focus specifically on that second piece. For someone in their 60s or 70s, this often translates into skin that holds its elasticity a little longer, and joint tissue that isn't breaking down quite as quickly between meals and movement throughout the day. Here's a practical tip that surprises people. Frozen berries actually preserve their anthocyanin content nearly as well as fresh ones, sometimes even better, since they're frozen at peak ripeness. So don't feel like you're missing out if fresh berries aren't in season or budget-friendly right now. And let's address something I hear often, that berries are too sugary for someone watching their blood sugar. In reasonable portions, a half cup to a cup a few times a week, the fiber and antioxidant content actually helps offset the natural sugars, making them a smart choice rather than something to avoid. What I'm about to share with you next is different from everything we've covered so far. This isn't just another helpful addition to your day. This is a nutrient your body cannot produce on its own, not even a little. It has to come from what you eat, and here's the part that concerns me as a doctor. Most people over 60 are running noticeably short on it without ever realizing it. Once you understand what this one actually does, you'll see why skipping it means everything else on this list has far less to work with. Alright, this is the one I promised you earlier. Remember when I said there's a nutrient your body can't make on its own, and most people over 60 simply don't get enough of it? Here it is. Citrus fruits, oranges, grapefruit, lemons. Why do people skip past these so easily? Probably because citrus feels almost too basic to matter. It's the fruit bowl staple, the thing you had as a kid, nothing exotic or new. But basic doesn't mean unimportant, and in this case, it's the opposite. Vitamin C isn't just one helpful ingredient among many when it comes to collagen. It's the ingredient your body absolutely requires to actually build new collagen strands. Without it, the process simply doesn't happen. No matter how much protein or other nutrients you're getting elsewhere, your body can have all the raw materials sitting there, ready to go, and without vitamin C, none of it gets assembled. Here's a way to think about it. Imagine trying to build a house with plenty of bricks but no cement. That's what collagen synthesis looks like without vitamin C. The pieces exist, but nothing holds together. Clinically, I've seen what a gap here looks like. Slower healing after minor injuries, skin that bruises more easily, joints that feel less supported during everyday movement like getting up from a chair or reaching overhead. Often, patients assume this is just unavoidable aging, when really, their body has been missing this one essential piece. Here's something useful to know. Heat destroys vitamin C fairly quickly, so a fresh orange or a glass of fresh squeezed juice gives you far more benefit than anything cooked or heavily processed. Even a lemon squeezed into warm water in the morning counts. And a quick myth to clear up. Citrus doesn't cause acid reflux for most people, despite what you may have heard. Unless you have a diagnosed sensitivity, it's safe and genuinely one of the most important foods on this list. Now this next one might surprise you, maybe even make you a little skeptical. It's a food a lot of my patients avoid entirely, convinced it's not for someone their age, or worried about things they've heard secondhand without ever really looking into it. But when we actually look at the research, this food does something the others on this list haven't done yet. It doesn't just protect the collagen you have, it tells your body to start making more of it. Here's something that might catch you off guard. Soy has a bit of a reputation problem, and I want to clear that up before we go any further, because it's keeping a lot of seniors away from something genuinely worth adding to their plate. Many of my patients hesitate the moment I mention soy. They've heard rumors about hormones, or they simply think of it as that thing vegetarians eat, not something relevant to their own health. But soybeans contain a compound called genistein, and research has actually looked closely at what it does for aging skin and connective tissue. Studies have found that genistein can stimulate the cells responsible for producing collagen, essentially nudging your body to manufacture more of it, rather than just protecting what's already there. This is a meaningful shift from what we've covered so far. Vitamin C and antioxidants help defend and support existing collagen. Genistein works differently. It's more like sending a signal to your body's construction crew, telling them to get back to work. For someone in their 60s or 70s, this can show up as skin that feels a bit firmer over time, and connective tissue around the joints that responds a little better to daily movement, whether that's gardening, walking the dog, or simply standing up from a low chair without that familiar hesitation. A practical note here. Fermented soy foods, like tempeh or miso, tend to be easier on digestion and allow your body to absorb these compounds more efficiently than heavily processed soy products. Edamame, cooked simply, is another excellent option a few times a week. Now, about that hormone concern, for the vast majority of people, moderate soy intake has not been shown to cause the issues once feared. Unless a doctor has specifically advised you otherwise for a personal health reason, soy is a safe, valuable addition rather than something to fear. We've made it to the one I mentioned all the way back at the start, the one almost none of my patients have ever connected to their skin or their joints. Pumpkin seeds, walnuts, almonds, cashews. It sounds almost too simple to be the most powerful item on this list, and that's exactly why it gets overlooked. Everything we've discussed so far gave your body raw materials or protection. This one is different. It provides zinc and copper, and these two minerals do something the others can't. They act as the final cross-linking agents, the part of the process that actually locks new collagen fibers together into something strong and stable. Without enough zinc and copper, your body can have all the vitamin C, all the sulfur, all the antioxidants in the world, and the collagen it builds still comes out weaker than it should be, less able to hold up under everyday stress on your skin and joints. Picture it like tying off the final knot on a woven basket. You can have every strand in place, but until that knot is secured, the whole structure stays loose. Zinc and copper are that final knot. Clinically, patients who've been low in these minerals often notice slower wound healing, joints that feel less stable during movement, even brittle nails that never seem to strengthen no matter what else they try. Correcting that gap tends to show real, tangible improvement within a matter of weeks. A practical note that matters here: a small daily handful, roughly a quarter cup, is enough. More isn't better with these minerals, since very high amounts can actually interfere with absorption of other nutrients. And lightly roasted, unsalted varieties give you the benefit without the added sodium your joints don't need. Some believe nuts and seeds are too fatty to eat regularly at this age. The fat in these particular foods is largely the healthy, unsaturated kind, and it actually helps your body absorb some of the nutrients we've talked about today even more effectively. Before we wrap up, let me share a few small habits that make everything we've covered work even better for you. First, pay attention to how you cook. Steaming or lightly sautéing vegetables protects far more of their vitamin C than boiling ever will. If you've been tossing your greens into a pot of water for 10 minutes, you're losing a good portion of the benefit before it even reaches your plate. Second, don't eat these foods completely on their own. A little healthy fat alongside them, a drizzle of olive oil on your tomatoes, a few nuts tossed into your salad, actually helps your body absorb and use these nutrients more efficiently. Fat and these compounds work as a team. Third, and this one's often overlooked, hydration plays a bigger role than people realize. Collagen fibers need adequate water to stay flexible and resilient. If you're not drinking enough throughout the day, even the best foods on this list won't perform the way they should. And finally, consistency matters more than perfection. You don't need to eat all 7 of these foods every single day. Rotating through them a few times a week, steadily, over months, is what actually moves the needle for your skin, your joints, and how you feel getting through your day. Before you go, tell me something. Out of these 7, which one genuinely surprised you? Maybe you didn't expect garlic to matter this much, or maybe soy caught you off guard after years of avoiding it. Drop it in the comments below. I read through these often, and honestly, hearing what resonates with you helps me shape what we cover next. Your experience matters here just as much as the science does. So, if today gave you a little more clarity, a little more hope about what's actually going on with your skin and your joints, do one simple thing for me. Hit subscribe, because we're building something here together, one honest, doctor-guided conversation at a time. Here's what I want you to remember most. Collagen loss isn't a life sentence, and it was never something you had to just accept quietly. Small, consistent choices on your plate can genuinely help you feel steadier, look more like yourself, and move through your days with real confidence. You deserve that. I'll see you in the next one.